All right, let's talk about Victor Wembanyama. Coming into this season, he may not have been quite as hyped as MP, but he is still 7'3". He still dribbles like a guard. He still shoots like one. He can do things that nobody at his size should be able to do, and he has a chance to revolutionize the game. So, what's the problem? Well, the simple fact of the matter is that MP has outperformed him, and it's not particularly close. As great as Vic is, MP is better. Point blank. Could these guys switch places one day? Absolutely. But as it stands right now, MP is the better player, and if you don't agree with me, well, I don't think we're watching the same sport. Before there was MP, there was Zion. Now, I'm not saying they're the same player. They're obviously not. But when you talk about the next LeBron James, when you talk about a guy who is going to change the game, you talk about a player like Zion. The things that this man is able to do at his size are almost unthinkable. I mean, how can a human that is that big get that high in the air? How can he run so fast? I mean, every time Zion takes the court, he shows you something you didn't think was possible. And he does it with ridiculous efficiency. But here's the thing. MP is every bit as effective as Zion. He's every bit the game changer that Zion is. And, in my opinion, he has more promise and more natural ability than that mountain of a man. So I'm making the call. I'm moving MP above Zion in the Got Next tier of my GOAT rankings. You don't like it? Make your own rankings. But this is the Logan Bradley Show, and on my show, I call it like I see it. All right, we need to talk about Jason Tatum. Here is a guy who is a perennial all-star, a perennial all-NBA. I just keep saying perennial because that's Jason Tatum. And every year he's been in the league, he's improved his scoring, assists, and rebound averages. Let me just say that again. Every year he has been in the league, he's improved his scoring, assist, and rebound averages. Do you understand how impressive that is? Do you understand how much work it takes to do that? Do you understand how much humility it takes to do that? I mean, this is a guy who's had a massive amount of individual and team success, making multiple deep runs into the playoffs, but he doesn't stop working on his game, and he's never satisfied, which is what it takes to become a legend. So to pass somebody like Jason Tatum in my Got Next tier is a huge accomplishment, but MP has earned it, and he should be proud. All right, let's talk about my guy Joel Embiid, the latest quote-unquote victim of MP's greatness. Now, Joel is a 7-footer who moves like a ballerina. He's a brick wall with grace and agility. This guy is a lock for All-Star and All-NBA nods year after year after year. He's been the league's top scorer on multiple occasions, and he's even been an MVP. He does it all with a smile on his face and a competitive fire that burns as brightly as the sun. He's also a hilarious social media follow. He's an incredible player. And yet, MP's done enough that I think he's better, both now and in the future. I come not to bury Joel Embiid, but to sing his praises. I just sing MP's a little louder. Despite measuring a generous 6 feet tall, Allen Iverson attacked the basket with a rugged fearlessness that enabled him to lead the league in scoring 4 times, win a regular season MVP, make 11 All-Star teams, 7 All-NBA teams, and 1 NBA Finals, where he handed the juggernaut Lakers their only loss of their entire playoff run. The Sixers may have lost that series 4-1, but it wasn't because of AI, who scored a playoff-high 48 points in a Game 1 victory over the Lake Show. People remember his dazzling one-on-one play and his once-in-a-lifetime crossover, but he was a true two-way player, leading the league in steals on 3 separate occasions. Allen Iverson played the game with style, but he also had endless substance. He's one of the most unique talents the game has ever seen and a shining example for undersized players all around the globe. We're never going to see another AI, but the fact that MP is now higher than him in my GOAT rankings does nothing to diminish what he brought to the game. Both are all-world talents, and we, as basketball fans, should feel lucky that we've gotten to see them play in their primes. Now, when you talk about MP passing David Robinson, this is a guy who was larger than life, literally. The man looked like a statue. He had every physical gift you could ever want in a center in any era. Strength, speed, stamina, you name it. He may not have reached the heights that many people predicted, but he had an incredible career, and he didn't waste any time doing it, winning Rookie of the Year against guys like Tim Hardaway, Glenn Rice, Shawn Kemp. He then went on to make 10 All-Star teams, 10 All-NBA teams, 8 All-Defensive teams, and he even took home a scoring title thanks to a 71-point outburst on the last game of the '94 season. Are you kidding me? That's in addition to winning 1 regular season MVP and a Defensive Player of the Year award. But let's not forget, he was a winner, too, earning a ring as the Spurs' second-best player in 1999 and contributing to another chip in 2003 on a slightly more loaded Spurs team that now had Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, in addition to the great Tim Duncan. Now, there's a reason this man was on the NBA's 50th and 75th anniversary teams, and the fact that MP is already ahead of him on my GOAT list is an impressive accomplishment, to say the least. Most people remember John Stockton for being one half of the greatest pick-and-roll duo of all time, and when it comes to assists, he's got pretty much every record that you can think of. He's got the most all-time with 15,806 times. That's almost 4,000 more than Jason Kidd, by the way. He's one of 3 people to get 1,000 assists in a season, and he's done it 7 times. The other 2 guys, they did it once. He averaged the most assists per game in a single season with 14.54 in the 89-90 season, and he has 6 of the 7 best seasons of all time according to assists per game. And now I'm going to sound like a game show host here, but that's not all, folks. He was a tenacious defender, making 5 all-defensive teams. He was a 10-time All-Star, an 11-time All-NBA selection, a 2-time NBA steals leader, and a member of the NBA's 50th and 75th anniversary teams. But you know what's really crazy? He only missed 22 games total in his 19-year career. John Stockton is a Hall of Famer, an Iron Man, and perhaps the best pick-and-roll guard of all time. And despite all that, MP is better. Take a moment. Let that sink in. We got to talk about Luka. This is a guy who didn't necessarily have all the hype coming into the league that someone like MP had. Sure, he had unprecedented success in Europe, but there were plenty of people who questioned how that would translate to the NBA game. Ladies and gentlemen, I was not one of those people. I've always believed in this young man's talent, and since joining the league, he's put up LeBron James quality numbers. I mean, the guy averaged 27 and 6 in his rookie year, and he's only gotten better. He's a one-man offensive powerhouse who has a flair for the dramatic and a proven record in the clutch. Quite simply, he's a generational talent. And despite all that, MP has been better. He just has. These are 2 incredible players, but MP is the superior talent, and I feel confident that he'll continue to prove it as his career continues. All right, let's talk about Chris Paul, who MP just passed on my GOAT rankings. Now, a lot of people underrate Chris Paul because he hasn't won a bunch of championships, but that's missing the forest for the trees. Take a step back, and you'll see one of the greatest point guards to ever play the game of basketball. I'm going to start with defense because a lot of people forget how incredible he is on that side of the ball. This is a guy who has made 9 all-defensive teams and led the league in steals a staggering 6 times. Not only did he have the strength and speed to guard any point guard in the league and switch onto guys who were much bigger than him, but he had the smarts to know everything about his opponents and the best ways to disrupt their games. And speaking of smarts, Chris Paul is one of the most intelligent floor generals the game has ever seen. He knows where everyone on the court should be on both teams and makes sure his squad gets in position to make the best play. Okay, here's a few more superlatives. He has double-digit All-Star and All-NBA nods. He's led the league in assists 5 times, perhaps most famously when he was lobbing up alley-oops to Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan on those great Clippers teams. Chris Paul is a no-doubt-about-it Hall of Famer, and the fact that MP just passed him is remarkable, to say the least. Patrick Ewing was an absolute monster of a talent and one of the greatest competitors the league has ever seen. Sure, he never got past Michael Jordan in the playoffs, but the Knicks were the only team to take the Bulls to 7 games in their 92 title run, and Ewing never had a number 2 as good as Scottie Pippen. Now, no matter the situation, Ewing never quit. Just ask any Knicks fan. He left it all out there night after night after night, finishing his career top 10 on the all-time blocks list and top 25 on the all-time points and rebounds list. On top of all that, he made 11 All-Star teams, 7 All-NBA teams, 3 All-Defensive teams, and was the Rookie of the Year in 1985 against guys like Karl Malone, Joe Dumars, and Chris Mullin. People remember this imposing 7-footer for his physicality, but I think he'd be even higher on this list if he played in the modern era, as he had one of the sweetest jump shots I've ever seen from a big man. Now, he may not have made it to the mountaintop, but he got pretty close. And I don't put MP above him lightly. Patrick Ewing was a generational talent and truly one of the all-time greats.